Hello students, welcome back to our next lesson, history, emergence of nationalism in Europe. As we discussed, at the midst of 18th century, nationalism emerged as a noble idea in Europe. Gradually, the spirit of nationalism or the message of nationalism developed all over the world. Last class we discussed about the contribution made by different artists, poets and novelists to create the spirit of nationalism among the world countries. As we know, this nationalistic idea, the emergence of the concept of nationalism made a far-reaching changes in the whole over the world. Of course, this noble idea was started in Europe. See, the first clear expression of nationalism was started along with the French Revolution 1789. So 1789, the year, is an important point, important chronology in the history of nationalistic development in the world. 1789, during those years, France developed as a national state or ruled as a territorial boundary under an absolute monarchism. 1789, France was a full-fledged territorial state under an absolute monarchical rule. And the major two demands put forwarded by French revolutionaries were the major demand, first one, see, they demanded that it was the mission of the people, it was the people constitute the destiny of the nation. The revolutionaries proclaimed that it was the mission of the people to create the destiny of the nation. And also the major demand of French revolutionaries was a transfer of sovereignty from people, from monarchy to an elected body of people. So these two elements or two demands of French revolutionaries was an outbreaking changes in the history of French nationalistic movement all over the Europe. And let us see how this French revolution created a nationalistic feeling among the people. You know, from the very beginning itself, French revolutionaries created very consciously, they created many effort to create a spirit of unity among the people. So that what happened, they introduced many concepts, many ideas, many symbols to create a unity among the people. Example, La Patrie means fatherland, and Les Citoyens, the citizen. Such a kind of some new concept they developed. This new concept developed by the French revolutionaries created a spirit of nationalism among the people. It created a unity and brotherhoodness and a spirit of harmony among the people. As well as we discussed that, to create this nationalistic sentiment, they introduced many other ideas too. They redesigned French tricolor flag, which include tricolor flag, and they replaced the old monarchical flag of France, royal standard flag. They replaced and they introduced a new tricolor flag. Such kind of actions put forwarded by these French revolutionaries created a brotherhoodness and unity among the people. And also estates, French society was divided into three divisions or three estates. First, then according to their social status and economical well-being, the society was divided into three sections, that is called as what? Estates. First estates, and the representatives of these estates were known as what? Estates generals. Then, to create a spirit of unity or a brotherhoodness, or to create an idea of nationalism, French revolutionaries reconstituted the Estates General. Estates Generals were re-elected, and first estates includes aristocratic family or royal members, comes under first category. They are called as what? First estates. Second estates, priests and nobles, comes under second estate. Third estate includes third estates, common people, farmers, slaves, all comes under third estates. These first and second estate people enjoyed a lot of birth privileges, and they were exempted from taxation. They enjoyed a lot of birth privileges. Their social status was very high, and comparatively the condition of third estate people was very miserable. All the tax burden over this third estate people, and they often faced many inhuman treatment from other estates. And when National Assembly or the monarchical rule called a meeting of National Assembly, these people were representatives of third estates were not invited, and they may not had any participation in decision making. But this whole condition was terribly changed during the period of French Revolution, and to create this unity among the people, they reconstitute this estates generals. This action, such a reorganization of estates and estates general, created a feeling of unity or a brotherhoodness among the French people. And also new hymns were put in place of formulated, uniform and centralized administration system, and new hymns were composed, new oaths were taken, and centralized system of administration and uniform weight and measures, and they discouraged, regional dialects were encouraged, and French language discouraged the use of French. And so such all these actions carried by these French revolutionaries created a spirit of nationalism among the people. It created a brotherhoodness and unity among the people. So once more, let us recollect these points. Listen, from the very beginning itself, French revolutionaries created a lot of symbols, signs, ideals and ideas, measures and practices to create a spirit of unity and brotherhoodness among the French people. Examples we discuss, the States Generals were reconstituted, and a new tricolor flag they designed, the idea of La Patrie, that means fatherland, and the idea of le citoyen, the citizen, and uniform weight and measures, and such actions, new customs duties, and the most important regional dialects. Regional dialects means regional language spoken by common people were encouraged, and the use of French language discouraged. So such a kind of all actions created by the French revolutionaries carried a message of nationalism among the people. And finally, French revolutionaries declared that it was the mission of French people, it was a mission and the destiny of French nation to liberate people of Europe from despotism and monarchical rule. And French revolutionaries carried the message of nationalism, and they carried the message of nationalism all over the Europe. And they declared that it was the mission and it was the destiny of French people to liberate European people from all this despotism. And when the events of nationalism, when the news of nationalistic development developed in Europe, gradually spread all over the Europe. And when they heard about the development in Europe, in France, other European countries invited French revolutionaries to their own countries. And the French army or French revolutionaries carried the message of nationalism in all over the Europe. And they carried a lot of activities and campaigns and prepared the way for French armies to Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, and many other European countries. With the wake of revolution, French armies began to carry the idea of nationalism all over the Europe, especially in these countries. So that is the most important awakening feature of nationalistic development in Europe. French revolutionaries carried this message of nationalism. They developed or designed a feeling of nationalism all over the Europe at the beginning. Next, let us see another important event, another important ruler who creates the role of nationalistic sentiments among the European country was that Napoleon Bonaparte. We discussed that, Napoleon, even though he destroyed the democracy in Europe, but in administrative areas, he introduced many revolutionary changes. These administrative reforms introduced by Napoleon also strengthening the idea of nationalism, the idea of unity among its people. Of course, we can say that Napoleon destroyed the democracy in France, but in his efficient administrative reforms carried a message of nationalism, message of unity. And we discussed, and revolutionary in administrative field, he incorporated many revolutionary principles. Example, Civil Code of 1804. This particular action was known as what a Napoleonic Code. Civil Code of 1804, usually known as Napoleonic Code. Then there are some striking features of this Napoleonic Code. Listen, introduced by the Napoleon in administrative field. We can see that made a lot of changes in the administrative setup of Europe, especially in France. He introduced all these reforms under Napoleonic Code of 1804. Generally, it is known as what a Civil Code of 1804. Then let us discuss some important key features of Napoleonic Code of 1804. One, all birth privileges were did away. Napoleonic Code did away all the birth privileges. That means he cancelled all the birth privileges enjoyed by first estates and second estate. That means no division between the society, or there was no tax exception. Such a kind of all privileges enjoyed by first estate and second estates were did away or cancelled. That was one of the most important striking feature of Napoleonic Code introduced by Napoleon. And he established a uniform law, equality before the law. That is another striking. All people, equal legal demand for all people. Equality in the field of law. That is another important. Know any community, whether they know any citizen, whether they belong to first estate, second estate, or third estate, no such a kind of division. All can enjoy same law. That is another revolutionary reform he introduced. Another one, right to property. Now we can see that third estate people, they are working on land, but they may not have had any right to earn a property as their own. Whatever they earn, it is due to the society or for the nation. It is national property. But Napoleon cancelled such a kind of nationalistic property system and introduced a right to property. People can earn private property. That is another important revolutionary reforms he taken. And uniform weight and measures and uniform system of administration, everything he made. Gradually, this Napoleonic code transported or exported to other European countries. So these two are the most important incidents or carriers of nationalistic development in Europe, especially in France. As we discussed, French Revolution and Napoleon. These two time being is created a lot of effort in all over the history of nationalistic development in Europe as well as nation. Let us discuss remaining topic next class. Thank you.